Hey guys, we are back. So I hope you enjoyed the last session where we went into kind of deep the EdNet protocol. Uh, yeah, so now we are trying to convert that into code. Show me the code, right? One second. So where do we begin? Right. So obviously, if you look at our product structure, one way to begin would be to go outside in, as in like we see how the end users are going to use whatever we are building. So, and that is the proxy for that is this particular template, and and make it real, right? So make it work. So cool. So let's say this site is going to become is going to look like the Rust book or any of those. Uh, so if you look at this page, so this is how the site looks like right now, which is just a single page with "Hello World." We want it to look like this, right? So it's going to have obviously two column layout. On the left we have a table of content, and then the right we have the content, right? So now one interesting thing is obviously that whichever page we are on, whichever content page we are on, the table of content kind of remains the same. So we need some way, and the table of content itself is nested. There are some details like some of these are numbered and some of them are not numbered, and there is I think appendix and whatever. Let's not go into those details. Let's pretend for the simplicity's sake that uh, the table of content is going to be just a non-numbered or just a list, right? There's obviously going to be a question of headings. Are the headings clickable? In this case, some of the headings are clickable and some of them are kind of not, right? So if you see introduction is not clickable, I cannot click on this, but this one is clickable. uh, it's kind of like a minor point. What does it mean? Like the reason this is in this question comes up is that, like, if you are you going to declare that this is something that you have learned explicitly, or would it be based on the fact that you have learned all the children of it, right? Or can you declare that you've learned this particular guy without learning this particular guy, right? So if we assume that um, the the nodes which have the parent nodes, like these are the leaf nodes and the non-leaf nodes. So if we assume that all the uh, uh, leaf nodes are the content pages and non-leaf nodes are just organizational stuff. So that's a hopefully uh, yeah. So we need two things. Obviously, we need a TOC, and then we need a page for every page. So I'll start with just starting with completely clean state. So we need some way to model our table of content, and then we need some way to model our how do I say content. So one thing I'm going to do for the simplicity sake over here is to let's not go into the treeness of the table of content. The fact that it is a tree, let's pretend that it is a flat list, right? Because going from a list to a tree, there's no real technical difference, right? From our point of view, it's just a list, or even not a list. It's a set. It doesn't really matter in what kind of what order. Actually, there is sort of like a treeness. So there's a treeness of this, and then there's another treeness of, you know, can you read this before this and so on, right? So is this the fact that this guy is coming after this, is this a dependency of it? In that case, this would be treated as a child of this or whatever, right? They would not be at the same level. Like for example, these two are children of this, um, but are they, or can they be learned in any order, right? So is this, so in the previous this thing we discussed in the net protocol, uh, the 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 concept graph, right? So this tree, right, and we discuss, concept graph can be a DAG or whatever. So are we assuming this tree is a DAG or not, right? So I am basically going to just ignore both the DAG or concept dependency for now, and also this tree for now, right? Just for the simplicity's sake. And as you will see, it kind of really doesn't really matter. I mean, there might be some whatever key, like how can you like for example, if this guy was a dependency for this guy, are we basically saying ki you cannot declare that I know this without learning this, right? Are we going to enforce this, right? The DAG aspect, um, or are we just going to let people self-declare? And I'm basically trying to say that let's not worry about that, right? Let's just pretend ki even though there are dependencies, we assume ki, I mean, why would the user not do it? Like I'm saying, that can be captured by just showing a bunch of links, and let's pretend that the user is honest. I mean, to say if it was really, really so that you cannot learn this without learning this. I mean, why would the user dishonestly say, "Oh, I know this," without knowing this, right? So let's just pretend that the user is honest, and our life is thus therefore simpler, and we'll model it as a tree. So in that case, our table of contents can become just a string list, right? Let's start with TOC, right? And TOC, right? This can become, so what I'm doing is I'm creating a new variable of type TOC, sorry, variable called TOC, table of content, of type string list, right? And then I can put string, this is the member of it. So I can just say, okay, why was fastn created, right? And then we will have string fifth try offering. Come on. Okay, and so forth, right? So just to, these are the learnable stuff. So this, we are pretending that this is not a learnable thing. And again, install fastn is kind of like a not a great, I believe, because you cannot really install fastn, learn install fastn. You install fastn by learning fastn on this is kind of like the thing that you're kind of learning at the highest level. And then we can just do this. We can do ft.text, whatever thing for dollar thing in dollar TOC. Let's see if this page works. Do we have the, where is this running? It's running in the template, so we can open, and perfect. So now obviously the data modeling is not awesome because we don't have links here. How do we store the link here, right? So because we have said everything is a string, I mean, this is not great. So let's obviously we should create a let's call it an entry, and this is going to be entry, and then this guy will become like a entry list, and this will be, that's it. And all of this has to change. So what does the entry contain? Entry will contain title, uh, which is a string, or we can make it caption, and I'll tell you what is the difference between title and string and caption in very soon. And then we have the URL which is a string, and let's put the concept also, which is a string, right? And the concept itself can be a URL, but whatever, it's a string. And now, because it's an entry list, so the three things have to change. So obviously we have to, and let's create a so I mean, let's go one by one. So first is, how do we populate this data? So obviously this is not a string list, it's an entry list. Now the fact that I have called this guy caption means that I can put it in this location, and the URL would be, let's say, for now I'm just going to say foo, and concept is equal to some random entry, and URL is /foo, and concept is equal to fastn. For now it kind of really doesn't matter. Now this code will not work. So POC is there. We'll have to say thing dot title, right? So ideally we should not see any difference here. So far everything is working, but now we can make it a link, and we can put $thing.url, and now all of them has become a link, right? So obviously the links are kind of like incorrect. So let's pretend to fix these. Can I, come on, let's say it will be y actually fastn, and then come on, y fifth try, and okay. So here there is the first level problem. We have discussed that this is the content URL and this is the concept URL. So what are you learning? For now, I am going to do this cheating. Let's do this cheating that we just ignore this concept for now. We will add this later on. Yeah, so everything is still kind of working, and now the URLs are obviously correct. Right now, obviously, this is one way of doing things, but it would be kind of better if we create a component to do this. So I will have a component called show entry, and I will just copy. This is the body of the component, and show entry. The looping we will not do here. We'll do the looping here, and then we'll have a everything of the whatever we have. This is the thing that we have to. This is a mechanical whatever, and now we have to call the show entry and pass thing, and we just caption, string caption, entry caption, right? So site, let's teach if try entry caption thing protect. So yeah, and we should wrap this also into a component called show toc, and I'll tell you why are we doing that in a bit. Now, as of now, if I do this, nothing will be on the page because obviously we have created a component, but we are not calling it. What have we done wrong? Component definition. Okay. Okay. fd.column. This is awesome. Basically, it needs to have a single child. Every component must have a single top level wrapper child. We have this, and now we can clean things up a little bit. We can say padding dot fix dot px 20, and there's some sort of FTD padding. Okay, we have some padding and then spacing dot px. This is some whatever. Cool. So we have something. So we have a TOC. Yeah. Why one of them is fix.px and other is px? So one is obviously we are kind of have taken a subset of CSS, and we kind of expose that. So and our CSS is obviously typed. So if you notice, everything is typed. We are creating a typed in JavaScript. You could have just created a JSON object in which you have these fields, but we have everything kind of typed here, right? So it's kind of like a good thing. And we are a firm believer of typing. Organizationally, you could have done this also, indent it, right? So you can indent this also, but we don't like to indent the first child, right? You can kind of, it leads to meaningless indentation all over the place, right? So I mean, you can up to you, but our guy will not. We prefer you do some space to separate things at the top level. I'm happy to change this particular ticket. Let's not go into those. So we have created a TOC, and now what we have to do is where the page, right? So let's create a page, right? So component, right? And this page is going to show the TOC. So, and the TOC should be shown left to right. So page should have actually a header, which should have the name of the book, which should be fd.column, because column means things are shown top to bottom. So this is the outer container. You can even use fd.document here, which should be used for the outermost. So we may not yet have read the outermost. We can always change it later on. And now we should show, this should be the fd.text. This is the book, the name of the book. So let's say I'm creating a book and the name of the book is whatever, fast and made easy. And then obviously we are going to put some typography. So let's look at the book itself maybe. And let's see, maybe it is, it has some change typography. This is the chapter we are interested in. We can learn the kind of the book that we have. Okay, so we need to change the typography. We have done all of this, and types, my types. And then what are where are the documentation for? I think the search for my search is not working. Okay, I will lives. Yeah, so we have all of these types available to us. So we'll use the heading large here. So think there might be some. Let's see if this has broken. What is it? Oh, we have created a page, but we have not called the page from anywhere. Let's not call this guy. Let's call this guy. So, is it called role types? Very good example. Need to fix this part of the documentation. Where do I find it? I should just open some existing fastn file. Yeah. So we are using design system. Actually, let me not build it from scratch. The reason I'm struggling because I don't really use these low-level elements, and I use this ds fellow. So let's just use ds fellow. So we'll not use ds.text. We'll use ds.heading large, and not have to worry about this. Okay, I thought I'll be teaching from scratch. Now heading large. So this is a problem because we should use ds.page as the top level. Now things are better. So ds.page has given us this tiny cute little thing, and then we have whatever, and I think there is a dark mode switcher also. Let me figure out how does that work and activate it here. Yeah, so we are just randomly going to use this page guy, which is in the foundation elements. Inside page, we have these parameters to worry about, and we are looking at that. Fastn badge is true, theme switcher is false. So let's put the theme switcher as true as well. Now you will see this icon, and our page is now, dark light mode switcher, etc. Cool. So now we can put the now we should put a sort of like a column ds dot, sorry, we should put a row, right? Because we are going to have two different things, so we can put this, and let's just be, for fun of it, put it twice so that you can see that this is indeed a row. So the left and right is there. So this is our table of content, and this is our content area. So for content area, we could have used, let's say, ds dot column and ds dot column, and this is my content inside ds dot copy regular and ds dot let's say we can maybe replicate introduction. Maybe this is an introduction intro, right? So okay, so now we have a kind of like a page. I think we are missing some sort of like alignment attribute. So alignment, should we, do you see any align here? Align content left. It should be top left. I think things are in slightly better shape. This kind of starting to look like the page we want to create. Now, obviously, we don't have all of these pages, so we are going to do that, and let's see. Um, Thank you, my dear friend. So now let's create our first page. Why fasten, right? And or rather, we will leave this page as the index page, and we'll have the why fasten dot ftd, right? Now this is ft.text why fasten, just to prove that things are working fine, links are working fine, right? So now we have to take this. Obviously, we want the skeleton to come over here also, right? Like the header and the TOC, etc. So we should import this guy. The name of the package is mentioned here, so we should just put it there and import as so actually we can kind of do that. Well, let's do something better. So let me teach you some other concept. So instead of this, actually I don't want to go there. So let's that would be too many things to learn at the same time, and so we are going to do this. That so now let's think about what deserves to be now, because we have codes to be used from multiple files. We have to worry about where do things go. So one thing I am going to do is cut this and put this inside this fellow, right? So not in this file, but in this file, right? So now the entry is part of my let's teach, right? So to get this to work, we have to first go and make this guy work. So now this is uh, no longer in the index page, so we have to import it, and we have already imported let's teach here. So we can just simply say let's teach dot entry, right? So let's teach dot entry, and then there is this guy let's teach dot entry. Yeah, so let's make sure that the page is working correctly. Something is not working. Let's teach dot entry not found. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So this guy is supposed to import the actual package, which is this, and re-export it. Export everything from there. Why do we have this indirection? I should just work now, right? So I mean, we could have where it is. Yeah. So let's pay attention again. Try to do so. First of all, we are pretending that this let's teach guy, which is defined over here, is the real let's teach package, right? So in our code, when we are writing our code, so for example, here we have written our code, we are using let's teach, right? So this let's teach works because in fastn.ftd we have a auto import, right? So this line brings this let's teach into our namespace because of the auto import, it is there. Otherwise, we could have done that manually. Now, why do we not directly? We could have just imported the actual package, right? Why do we have this thing, right? Because this allows us an opportunity to not just use what is defined in let's teach, but also modify them, right? So everything defined in this package, if we directly refer to the package, we will only get the version of that package's version of that record or component or whatever. So this, by importing everything from there and re-exporting from this module, we get this indirection, and this allows us to, define our own record. If we really wanted, we can override this record, and that thanks to some magical things that we have done. If you really look at this file, it has these two interesting lines which are not present in this, right? If you look at this package, this is just a package and there's nothing else, right? After that we have dependency. But over here, if you look at this package, this has these two extra lines, meaning that these are, there's a system called let's teach defined, which means that this let's teach is basically interesting, right? And what it means is that any times you are using let's teach name, what is getting resolved is different, right? So for example, inside here, this package is getting resolved. There's no magic here, right? Like over here, things are very straightforward. You are importing this package and you're getting this package, right? So there's no magic and nothing really to explain here other than the indirection bit that I mentioned. But over here, thanks to this line, right, what is happening is if this guy itself imports let's teach anywhere, which we have not yet done, but if you look at the other packages, if I show you, let's say our design system, the same thing we have done in design system here, right? So if you look at the design system, and let's say we look at let's say what are you going to look at? Web components? No, we are going to look at border. Where is the button components, right? So let's look at the buttons, for example, right? So we have defined a bunch of types, etc. But if you look at it, right, we are referring to everything via DS, right? So even things which are defined in this package, right? So consider, here would be a good example. Yeah. Actually, this should have been ds.danger button. So basically, everyone should use, when you're referring to DS, should use the DS module. It sounds like a convention, but by making it a system, and this is not a proper usage of the system, by the way, it should have all have been DS dot. So if you see this is DS dot secondary, this should also be DS dot secondary button, and this code will work because whatever component exists in whatever hierarchy, we have re-exported everything from this place. So as you see, we have, let's say in the button, we have re-exported everything over here. So everything is available to me as DS, right? So all the components we have flattened the entire namespace, and everything is available to me as DS. So ds dot star, and which means there is only one module. The entire package, which is composed of multiple modules, from the outsider's perspective, is only one module, which is DS, right? And the magic of this system is, here also you'll see that we have defined a system, is that it's basically saying while inside this package, anytime I'm importing this DS, right? You see there I've imported this DS. Anytime I'm importing this DS, don't actually import this guy, right? Import whatever is DS is defined as DS in the main package of that thing. So this is like a uber indirection. The end result of that is that we can do, like, for example, the button, let's say this package design system has defined a component called card, and that component card internally uses the primary button. Now the primary button is provided by the design system by default, right? So we just saw, so there's a component called all of these primary secondary button. But what if I want to overwrite it, right? So if I want to overwrite the primary button, how do I make sure that my version of the primary button is used by the ds.card? So I'm not overwriting ds.card. I want to basically say, okay, hey ds.card, wherever you want a primary button, don't just say dash dash primary button, say ds dot primary button. And that ds, thanks to the system bit, will be provided to you, at the by files like this, right? So over here also I should, right? I think there is a I have not yet put the provided via. So because so that is the thing. So if I choose to override this package now, so I can do that by saying provided via on my design system, right? And I can say ds, right? So now anytime anyone imports this package, they are going to actually get this module, right? This is my main package, right? My site is let's teach template, or it could have been a meteor.com or whatever. This guy is the main package, and this package has said ki, okay, is effectively saying ki anyone who imports this guy, don't give them that guy, but give them this guy instead. Now for this to happen, I have to create the ds file, and I have to put that import line here with the package name for design system. So I'm going to basically re-export everything that is designed in defined design system, and then I can overwrite my own component. Let's say primary button, right? So let's say I take this primary button, which is defined in the button dot whatever, let's say component primary button. I can take this component and put it in my package, right? And now I can do whatever with it. And the beautiful thing is, in my entire dependency tree, right? So this guy is my dependency tree, right? Like all the so for example, let's auth is internally somewhere going to need well, let's try it out, right? Like, so this is my primary button, and I think the primary button is being used in the login form. So I'm going to change the primary button. Let's look at it, right? So this is brilliant, and I will have to restart because I have just modified fastn.ftd. I'll go here. Everything is working still fine. Remember the auth, right? So now this is the primary button. Let's go and change this primary button. Let's go and add ftd. Let's say ds dot copy regular yo-yo, right? Let's see what happens now. What happened? Is this not the primary button? Or do I have to restart it? Let me look at the auth package. It is fine. Let's auth. And then it has UI, and it has the sign-in page, and the sign-in page is using form link copy regular row, create an account. It's using ds.primary button. It should have been using my it's a bug. What if just sign in? What am I missing here? Okay, this might be the problem. No. Why is this not happening? So what should have happened was, like, if you look at the auth page, it's using, it should have used my DS. And let me just make sure I'm using the right fastn. There is a tiny possibility that I'm using some wrong version of fastn. The installed. Hey, yaar. Let me verify fastn version. I don't think we fixed this problem recently. Where did it install it? .fastn. It's very odd. Why did it take so long? But it doesn't matter. So we are doing serve offline. And no difference. So it looks like we have a regression and our patching feature is not working. Okay, let's not go there and let's not go there. Let's go back and continue with our current task. Sorry for this. You have kind of understood the motivation, but unfortunately the things are still kind of working. That's the right. So let's focus on these pages. So this is still working. Why do we do in this funky way is not, I've not been able to explain that to you. We will do that later. Okay, so we have this page. Now we have created a new component, and let's put this component also right in the now show TOC and show entry. Obviously, this deserves to be in this guy, right? So because obviously, yeah, good. And now wherever we have done show entry, we have to say let's teach.show entry. Let's see if it is still working. It is kind of still working. To prove that it is indeed whatever. Okay. Cool. What else can we do? I mean, we can move the show TOC itself there, but how do we now we'll have to parameterize this. So we'll have to get the list of TOC. Here we are using this TOC as a global variable. Now we have to take the TOC as a, so the type of the TOC is, we should say caption. We would say entry list as TOC, and this would be show TOC dot. And now when we are in this file, wherever we have called show TOC, we have to pass the $TOC. Let's see. Didn't work. What happened? Show TOC. Not found. Show TOC. Why did it not work? Show TOC is over here. Okay, let's see. So it's in line number 36. So line number 36 is over here. Oh yeah, because this should be let's teach.showTOC. Perfect. So now this component that renders it has been moved to this guy. So we are making decent progress. Now we have 3 components. We have moved to that guy. Now we have to move this page, right? Now if we move this page, now this page has some stuff which is this and this, right? These are the 2 things. So we have to first parameterize these guys, take them out. So we will call it, I can call it content page, but I want to call it content page, but we'll see. So we need, so our content page, so all the pages, all these pages are going to be content pages. So obviously the one of the first should be about. Actually, let's do one more thing. Let's allow some other pages also to exist. So let's improve our entry to also contain non, how do I say? Actually, let's do this optional concept. Right. So, and we'll say if this is set, this is actual concept page, else it is just a regular page. Like the intro, like you never learn the intro, right? This intro doesn't really have any content. It is going to, so this will help us decide which pages in the TOC are intro and not. And depending on that, we could have used that to show them visually differently, but we don't really want to. Very soon, this will become very interesting show entry because it will show the status also, whether we have learned it or not, etc. So we are going to put some sort of icon to indicate what is your status. So what are we going to do next? So, but for now, I mean to say, for such things, concept was we can actually on hover or through some means indicate that this is a concept, but the icon might be enough. So we'll see. We'll have a. So now what I'm saying is the first should be the URL is slash. Actually, let it be fastn. So let's say this is what do we call this? Introduction to this book. We need some introduction. Let's call it introduction. And introduction will be this URL. So our table of content has one more entry, and the current page is this page. We can do something interesting. We can choose try to highlight the current page. Let's try to do that as just out of whim, right? So what we want to do is we want to find out the current URL, which okay, we'll do that later on. This is, let's focus on the task that we had in hand. So our goal is to now make this y. So this page is working fine. This page is not working fine. How do we make this page work fine? Right. So we want to basically. I hope that you do realize that we have managed to move. So this is content, and we have managed to move all the craft. This is kind of like craft, right? These are needed for things to work, but I don't want to clutter my content pages with definition of all these types and stuff. So we have done really a decent job by moving them out. We have to move this guy out. So let's move this out straight away. And let's create a page. And let's, for the string. We'll call it. We'll rename this page to content page. I'll let it be. Let's teach.page. So now we'll have to put let's teach.page. Now the fuck up is key. This refers, if you try this, it will fail because it is referring a variable TOC which is defined in this file, right? So this TOC is defined here. So we have to pass this guy as a parameter. So let's do that. So we know key should be TOCs as $TOC. This part is perfectly right. And then we have to take show TOC, like page will also have a, and wherever we have done this will become page.toc. So this is starting to work. Brilliant. Now what we have to do is these guys. So we have to parameterize this. So we will call it title $page.title, and this will be actually this should not be caption. This should be just this, and this should be the caption title. And we go back to this guy and fix it, and this should be, yeah. So we have parameterized this. So as you can see, now I can modify the title by modifying this page, but how do I modify these two lines, right? So we have to make this guy. Now this is a special kind of page which has children. This is a component which has children. So we will call it children content. Perfect. And then we will get rid of this actual content, and we will pass it to this guy. And now now we have not passed any content to this guy. So whatever we copied, we have to pass it to, and let's teach.page, right? So let's try to appreciate this. Let's first prove that it is working. Yeah, it's working. So now we have abstracted out, move this title of the book is here, and now when we do this, that now of course when you're creating the second page, let's create the second page. Now let's focus on this guy. Now obviously this is not what we want, so we can do the same thing. We don't have to define the TOC. So obviously we want to import this page from this file, because to access the variable. So it might even be a good idea to move the TOC in its own page. So that's what we are going to do. So we'll have a toc.ftd, and over here we'll go to index page and move the TOC to this fellow, and then import it, and the name of the current package is this guy /TOC, and this fellow needs TOC, so we'll call it toc.toc because now it's inside. Let's just prove that the first page is working correctly. And now we have a really small like file which kind of only contains content, and we can go back here and put y fastn here, and we can say this will teach you by yes. So now we have hopefully 2 pages. Perfect, brilliant. So now we have 2 pages with some sort of like a common design. These pages don't exist, we can easily make them work. Obviously there is a tiny of repetition still. I'm not fond of this, so we can put that as, instead of TOC, maybe we'll call it meta, rename it to meta, and then we will go to index and import meta and $meta.toc, and this will be $meta.title. Inside we will also put title, which is the FTD which is a string. And now in over here we can say do the same thing here, meta dollar meta dot title and dollar meta. You see, and now we have a single file which defines the title of the book, and we can easily modify this, and it will be present in all the pages. So this is brilliant, but as you like, let's be a little bit more obsessive, and I am trying to say that this import statement, I like everything is craft. I like hate craft. So what we are going to do is we are not going to import this statement, and we are going to create our own component called page. We'll copy it. We'll do the stuff that we intended to do. It didn't work last time, but I think this part should just work. So we are not going to use the page component defined by them, or whether we are going to now we can do this import statement inside this place and put these two things. We no longer need these two parameters. Actually, we can leave these two parameters and override them with the default values. So far they were required parameters. Will make them yeah, this is, I'm liking this better. So this way you will still continue to, if you really wanted, you can overwrite and page.toc. And now by doing these things, I am hoping we won't have to pass this and this, and similarly all of this. Just in a minute to reply to a message. Make so this guy is complaining about that this is not found because yeah, I think this should. Oh, अरे वो दे दीजिए, नाश्ता का रेडी है कुछ तो. So we need the entry also. Wrong. Okay, let's see. Line number 14. Let's teach template. Let's teach line number 14. ठीक है. I think I'm missing something. Yeah, I'm not passing the content to this guy. Yeah. So yeah. So we are. I think it's pretty obvious what I'm doing. I'm re-importing this guy as a alias LT so that I can refer to the original version of this page. Because I'm overwriting this page, I need to call internally the original version of this page. So I'm using that LT, and so export doesn't put things in the current module. I think it leaves it in a separate. Okay, cool. So I think it might be a decent place for us to stop. Let's see where we are. How do we like things? Right. So the metadata about the book title should be on the top of the file. So this is the title of the book. This is the TOC of the book. Now we have this. This is the content of the first, and we can do something more to make it even less code. Uh, so one is obviously we can remove this line, as you will see in both these places. Copy regular, as you see this is because you can pass the both the title and the body will go to this guy. So you will see that I really obsess about these things, removing these lines. But this thing is we can do this also, and let's try to do this. Right, this is arguably even better because less lines of code is always more awesome. How do we make this guy work now? Right. So we are taking our component, and we are going to not ask for this title, but we are going to meta.title. I'll just put this directly here, and I'll use this as that title, and I will put another property called body in this page. So because this is the body, right? So this is the body, and if I use some other component, let's say f3.text, so this is the children. So this is the body. So body comes whatever is the text before the next child or end is the body. So it is body, and then we will take this page, and so we have both body and content. So we will put body and content, and then this guy needs content. So one way to pass content is this, and lt.page, and we'll say ds.heading large page.title, and then and the body would be just page.body, and then we say ds.column. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, some styling has changed because the DOM structure has changed slightly. But fastn and introduction. This is a simple page for let's teach template. Where the fuck is this content coming from? Oh yeah, we added it. Where did we add it? Yeah, over here. Cool. I think there is one problem with this, that this column we are not passing the right properties to this column. That let me bring this back. So this was oops. So this was not top left aligned. So we are going to align top left. So this is better. As you see, the font etc. are different from this guy. So we shouldn't use text. We should use ds dot copy regular. And now there is still this extra inset. So because I think we put a default inset on everything, so let me go and remove that padding thing, the default padding on every. So where is the column? And if you see, the column has a property called inset, and it is, I think, it should be 0. I think there is an inset value which we can pass, which is 0. Perfect. Yeah, so now our page is slightly, yeah. So I think this is a good point for us to stop. We have done some progress. I'll do a commit so that we shouldn't commit our wasm file. Ideally, this guy should have added a wasm entry. This is another problem. Start.wasm. So yeah, I think we have done decent progress. Cool. See you again next time.